Hello and welcome back to the DF Retro Super Show, the no AI zone, the AI free zone. We're only talking about old games here, and there is no artificial intelligence involved. Just moderate intelligence from us, your hosts, sort of. It's me, John Linneman. I'm back. It's been a week, but we're doing some cool stuff today. And of course, I'm joined by two of the co-hosts of the DF Retro Super Show. First of all, Mr. Virtual Boy, Mark Triforce Duddleson.
You can definitely tell I'm not AI enhanced because I decided to turn off my clean shaven filter, and I'm also AI removing my vacation hat that I had on last time.
And of course, we also have the man himself, Coury Carlson.
It's good to be back. Everyone is referring to me as the man himself in the My Life in Gaming Discord. And I guess that's what I'm doing now. That's just going to be how it is.
Must be kind of nice.
Yeah. Maybe someone will make a little custom tag for me that just says the man himself.
Regretfully, however, our dear friend Audie Shirley has passed away. Wait, no, he's actually still alive, but he went to GDC, so he actually went to North America, and he was partying it up probably. I like to imagine Audie out at the strip clubs at night, just getting busy, but I don't know. He's not here today. Hopefully he'll be back soon.
Living that Wanpaku Bobcat life.
Exactly. The Wanpaku Bobcat life. But, my friends, we have a cool topic today. I think it'll be a fun one to talk about. We have selected our very favorite first levels in video games. That's right. In my opinion, the first level of a game is one of the most important things. It's that crucial step that helps you sort of know right away whether this game is going to grab your attention or not. And when you do it right, sometimes those intros can be so good that you find yourself replaying them over and over again over the years. And that's definitely the case with some of the ones that I've selected today. Can't wait to see what you guys have selected.
Sometimes they might be the best part of the entire game.
Yeah, that happens too. But before we get to that, we've got a mix of news and some other good stuff happening in the world of retro games. So let's switch out of the no AI zone and head to the cone zone. Or wait, the news zone.
The cone zone?
I don't know. PC-Genjin 2. You guys play PC-Genjin 2, also known as Bonk's Revenge?
Oh, yes. In fact, we talked about a little bit on the previous show, so you've got some
news.
Yeah.
So, my card has been broken. There's a lot of broken PC-Genjins out there. But then I saw it work again, sort of. So, a friend of mine from Japan brought over what's known as a Retro Freak, which is a sort of emulation box with a bunch of different cartridge inputs. You can, copy cartridges on there and do all that kind of stuff.
It's very similar to the Retron 5.
Basically the same idea, right?
Yeah, it's more for the Japanese market and supports PC-Engine, of course.
Correct. So I was curious. I tried a bunch of stuff in the Retro Freak just to see what would happen. Unsurprisingly, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't work. I put in Paprium, no joy. I put in Asta Bros, surprisingly did not work. A few other things like that where EverDrive, or I tried the Mega SG.
Yeah,
or sorry, SD, not SG. SD, obviously.
Yeah.
That's
it dumps the games to run them and uses the game itself as the key. You can't dump a flash cart.
Correct. So I was curious to see what would happen, right? And so I played around, but then I was like, wait a minute, what about that PC-Genjin 2 card? So I popped that out of the case and stuck it into the machine, and it worked. The Retro Freak reads these. It works with the games differently, right? I assume it copies it into memory on the local hardware. It's not electrically reading it from the card itself as it would on a normal cartridge bus, right? So there's a completely different mechanism. But to me, this says that there is obviously part of this game card, the Hue card, where the game is, contained, that it's able to still successfully extract from.
Yeah, the ROM itself sounds like it's preserved.
So there's something else going on electrically that's preventing it from working on any real PC Engine hardware, including the Analog Duo. which
Right.
also reads the cue card bus like a real PC
Right.
Engine, right? Thus, it does
No.
not work. So this is really interesting to me. I thought just because of the fact that like it's not 100% dead. There's definitely something there,
Right.
but there's obviously a failed part of it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems to me that there's so many of these failed cards out there that surely there are also some very smart people who have the means to diagnose it, who, if they were to try their card, they'd be like, oh, mine's dead too. I haven't had a chance to try my own card since getting back home, but we'll see.
I'd be curious to see. I do know that there are some replacement services out there for Hue cards, but that essentially involves pulling out the black portion of it and just replacing it with a new version, right? So you still get the original plastic around it,
Right.
but that new part is replaced. But I haven't seen anybody bringing one of those back from the dead because it's very thin in there and it's got a black globule on it, and it seems like it would take some effort to sort of get in there. But
And then
I'm
like to
wondering if it's
reseal
possible.
it.
Yeah, resealing it properly. They're not easy to work on, I'd imagine. But still, I'm very fascinated by this. And if you guys have any failed Hue cards out there, it might be worth trying them on a device like the Retron 5 or this Retro Freak or whatever, just to see what happens. Because I was completely amused and surprised to see that, hey, it actually still boots.
And John, you had heard something about, and Try had an issue with his own card of Ninja Spirit having a similar issue. Like that's the only
US
one that
version.
you've heard. The
US
US version seems to be the only other one that's known right now to really be afflicted with this same or a similar issue.
I mean, I've seen other examples of Hue cards dying, but it seems more one-off, where these games seem to have more conversation around them, suggesting that there's actually more cards dying than average. The PC-Genjin 2 one especially, there's a ton of conversation around it, and we've personally seen like a huge number of them now that have all failed. I haven't found one that still works, which is wild.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll let you know when I have a chance to test mine.
And I'm curious to see if some people that tested it online actually were like, yeah, it works, but I noticed some graphics glitches. And I'm really wondering if they're just like in the process of failing.
Yeah, that's how it
It's on
starts.
the way.
So that's the news. That's the update. Maybe next week we'll have a PC-Genjin 2 Part 3, but that's where it's at the moment. So, Coury, I wanted to ask you about this because I thought this was pretty cool. You have obtained some very large CRTs.
They are not in my house yet.
You will have them soon.
Yes. One of my wife's coworkers' husband had these two 32-inch Sony CRTs, Sony Trinitrons, the RV32S26, apparently. And he found out that, that I'm interested in such a thing. So he brought them home. They used to be used for video conferencing. They are a max signal of S-video, but they can be RGB modded. So I have to get these into the house, along with these two Sony stands that they came with, these huge, really dense wooden stands. So I gotta find a place to put them in this basement and not die in the process.
So the goal with those is for me to get one and Coury to get one, and hopefully Retrotech Steve can get them sort of recapped, tuned up, and RGB modded.
Yeah, and he can take the stands.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
I'm
You
I'm
can take a
hoping-
stand. I don't know, but
I'm hoping that these will be good enough to end up being my main CRT over my 20 M2 MDU. I think that would be pretty neat.
the good news here is that they are the curved tubes. Obviously, the larger the tube, the more the geometry and convergence gets messed up, but you have a better shot at it when it's a curved tube versus a flat one, as we all know. So
Yeah, well, I mean, my aunt and uncle had a very similar Sony 32-inch Sony back in the day. I played games on it all the time, including lots of side-scrolling games, and I never noticed the geometry issues. But when I got my 36-inch Wega, I noticed it immediately. So I think these bubble tube 32s should be okay. And John, you were telling me that something interesting about this kind of tube that doesn't have like, I forget exactly the details, but the ones that don't have component video in them are actually better candidates for RGB mods because they the image isn't as processed, right?
That's what I found based on my own results, where I feel like a lot of those ones with component video kind of add in a little bit of extra. Like you can adjust the sharpening and make changes to it. And there is like an effect on the image. It's not bad, but it's there. Where if you can just get that raw RGB piped straight into the set with none of those things available, I do feel like it looks the most pure. And you wouldn't necessarily want that for like a broadcast, but you do want that for a video game signal.
Is that what you did with my Toshiba? Is you when you opened it up, you removed that little
Your Toshiba, that was the VSM cable that I removed. It's the velocity scan modulation that a lot of late 90s and up TVs had, where they tried to add artificial scaling or sharpening to the mix, in addition to the sharpness setting, by varying the velocity of the beam, right?
Right.
And it sucks. It looks horrible in games. And yeah, a lot of sets don't let you actually defeat it in the menu. So you physically have to go in there and unplug the cable.
And it's not that difficult. I mean, you were able to do it to mine in 20 minutes or so. And most of that was spent getting it open.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's usually pretty simple. There's sometimes you might have to desolder it from the board, depending on whether they were cheap or not, to put a connector in there. But it's good stuff. I love it.
I'll give you an update in the next episode. We'll know how it goes. And hopefully I didn't fall down my basement stairs carrying them down.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. You don't want to become the crushed man himself.
Yeah.
So,
or it falls on my head like I end up looking like Monitor from Game Fan magazine.
Oh boy. Another piece of news right before we recorded this, so it'd be not too old by now, but the Switch 2 got a new firmware update that adds boost mode. I feel like that's something that Joe would love to say.
Yeah, we need to get him to record some
mode. Exactly. This is an interesting thing that I didn't think Nintendo was actually going to add, but essentially they have unleashed Switch 1 software when in portable mode on Switch 2 by allowing the system to run it in docked mode while portable. And that now means that it can target 1080p, which is the native res of the screen, when you're in portable. So there's a lot of games now that see a significant resolution and visual quality boost when played in that mode. And I've tested a couple games and have definitely seen it. I gather, and I haven't tested it enough yet, that some games actually see more drops. By and large, it still seems to be significantly smoother than like Switch 1.
Right. I mean, I guess it's probably still running at the same clocks as handheld mode always runs at, I would assume.
Right.
Allowing that mode. So yeah, I guess it's possible that you could hit the limit a little more often. I haven't tried this yet myself. Thinking more from the retro side, though, a lot of games, especially due to the popularity of the Switch itself, targeted pixel art games specifically I'm referring to, targeted 720p. And I it's like kind of, they would use a divisible resolution of 360p or 720p. Of course, 360p can also go into 1080, but they would often do 240p, targeting upscale to 720, even for the PC, Xbox, PlayStation versions. So many games were targeting the Switch itself so much for that. So I would think there probably are some games where you might be better off leaving that off, especially some pixel art games, but some pixel art games also target 1080. So it's kind of going to be a little bit of a mix.
I'm curious to see more. One that was appealing was something like Burnout Paradise, actually, because that was running the higher res on the larger screen makes that game way more playable, and that's one I love to go to because it's 60 FPS, right?
Yeah,
on a portable system. It's still a great game. So
I wonder if this is at all a reaction to the poor reaction to the Xenoblade Chronicles X Switch 2 edition, or if
I doubt it. I mean, it feels like this had to be in the works for longer than that, right?
yeah.
I'll be curious to see how sharp the regular 30 FPS version runs on the Switch 2 screen. But of course, there is limited benefit to this right now in the sense that the Switch 2 screen. I find it much more tolerable than John does, and I think Coury does too. But there is no doubt that Switch OLED screen is nicer. But someday, when there is surely a Switch 2 OLED, this boost mode will be extremely nice.
One more thing I wanted to mention though before we get to our main topic, actually, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a little bit of like homebrew Mega Man action happening. First of all, there's this Mega Man X Viral Nightmare release. Did either of you guys catch that?
Oh, I'm not familiar with this at all.
It's not complete.
Is it the Sigma virus?
No, it is essentially
Has he gone
like
Maverick?
Yes, I'm afraid it has. It has
Mega Man
gone
X
Maverick.
Gone Maverick.
Exactly. This one is actually sort of a reimagining of Mega Man X6.
Because that game is bad.
Is a game that is conceptually fine. It looks beautiful, but it's got some weird stuff in it that makes it extremely annoying. Right?
I hate that game a lot.
So this is essentially all basically brand new levels, new mechanics, stripping out things that didn't work, focusing on things that do. It's now widescreen. It has a bunch of other things going on in it, and it's beautiful.
So is it telling the same story of Mega Man 6 with different level design?
But in this version, I didn't really see much in the way of dialogue or text popping up at all. It was just like straight levels that you play. And the level, like the intro level is like 10 times as long, because in the original it's super short. But it's actually like a proper level now. And it's got way more design going on, and I think it plays much better. And the whole thing seems to be following in that trend. So it's essentially they're like trying to rescue Mega Man X6, which I commend them for. It's worth checking out.
I wrote a long rambling blog post back in the day about like this huge list of things I hated about Mega Man X6. It did not go over well with me, so I'm actually quite intrigued by this.
I'd like to hear your thoughts then. In addition, there was another re-release of the Wily Wars for Genesis with some additional quality of life changes. Nothing massive, but there's enough stuff in it that it seems like it's worth loading up and checking out. I haven't had time to do so yet, but it does seem to have received it. They call it the 3.0 update. And I've always had a soft spot for that. And it's cool that fans are still out there kind of making changes and trying to improve it, because, fundamentally, I think it's pretty cool. Not as good as the sequel Wars that's still in development. They already remastered Mega Man 4 on the Mega Drive, and I think it's extremely good and actually better than the NES game. So I will say it. It's really good. But that's going to do it for this section. So, all right. Thanks for watching. No, just let's go ahead and get to the main topic, because that's where the juice is at in this episode.
And we got that juice.
We got that juice. We'll see you on the other side. So you get home, you pop that cartridge into your machine, and you enter your name, and you're like, this is awesome. It's all you've done. It's like Bone Storm. And that's that first contact with the game. It's, what can I say? First levels of games are really, really important. That first impression. And there's different ways to approach it. Sometimes it's just straight, bam, you're in the gameplay. Sometimes there's whole cutscenes and sort of a cinematic wrapping around it. Sometimes it's a mix of the two. And all of them, I think, are equally valid and can contribute to those initial, very cool first experiences. In my view, the best first levels are the ones that are memorable to the point where you often want to just sort of replay it, re-experience it, and you spend a lot of time just playing the game, popping it in, having some fun. And there's a bunch of games where I find myself doing that. So it's actually hard to narrow it down, but I do have a few in mind. But before I share my first one, I want to let you guys weigh in. So, Coury, I'm thinking maybe you want to hit us with your very first choice here and see if it's on my list or not.
Yeah. When I think of first level, immediately the thing that comes to mind is one of my favorites is Ikaragu from Treasure.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. The way that it starts up with like the quote on screen, and then you see this like giant ship, and your ship like launches out of it, and it has the best intro music of all time. I feel like the music is just so good, and it's so intense. It explains to you the whole white and black concept right out of the gate before it even tells you the level's name, and this whole level takes you through the clouds, and then you go beneath the clouds, and you're flying over a forest, which is just incredible. You go back up again, and then up the side of like what looks like a tower, and man, it is such a perfect first level that it's definitely at the top of my list. The game itself is not that long. So, I mean, I think it's 5 levels. So, I mean, this is a big, like the first level is a big chunk of the game. But man, that first level is just basically perfect.
Ikaragu is a really interesting, ultra hard game. I feel like they already got that vibe down in Radiant Silvergun before it.
I don't know if it's considered like a sequel to Radiant Silvergun, or if it's kind of like I don't know, like a spin-off or like a spiritual successor or something. But Ikaragu is a lot more serious than
yeah. No, I know what you mean. It's Radiant Silvergun goes straight for the anime. Ikaragu is definitely more serious, and it's cool. Yeah. I definitely respect that. So yeah, very, very good first choice. What about you, Try? What are you going with as your first?
So this isn't exactly a level-based game, but honestly, probably the first thing that came to mind is the opening of Final Fantasy VII. That could apply to both the original version and the remake. That like opening bombing mission run music, like there is very little in this world that gets me as pumped up as that music. And I think that's a big key to a lot of great first levels, right? Is that music. And, it does like kind of get a little more subdued when you actually get inside the reactor, but that whole, that wide shot of Midgar, the way that it zooms in and cuts between the train and then, jumping off the train, and it's just like nothing.
The one-handed flip off of it.
I know, like that. Mm-hmm. I often think about video game music that makes you feel like you can do anything, and that is a video game track that just makes me feel like I can do anything. The gameplay and stuff of the level isn't necessarily anything all that special or interesting, but it's enough. It teaches you the basics. It teaches you, that you can target different parts and stuff, for maybe some RPG newbies. It does enough to, this helped people who were unfamiliar with RPGs, understand the game and drew them into the game. I mean, if this game opened like, just another, sleepy small town RPG village like most others, like would it have had the impact that it did? Maybe not. It's hard to say.
Probably not. No.
Probably not. So I mean,
it throws you right into the action.
It throws you right into the action with just this incredible piece of music. And to this day, like if I hear that music, like I want to play the beginning of that game.
And another thing I always loved about it, and this was amazing at the time, is the way they blended the FMV sequences directly into the gameplay. I think that was really fresh, where that whole intro pan, like it seamlessly pans up across the city. You get the title card, and then as it goes down, they integrate the 3D model. It's ready for the 3D models, right as they switch over to the pre-rendered background, and it's just like boom, you're in. And they do that a couple times as well, like right after you give your name, for instance, and you're going through that gate, and Cloud sort of glances up at the Mako reactor, and it's actually a quick FMV sequence of the whole camera tilting up, and it makes the whole thing feel like really dynamic.
Like you're playing something new that you'd never seen before.
And even the remake.
Yeah.
Even the remake does a really good job.
It does.
Much better job of most games of doing that transition from FMV to real time, with the smoke sort of masks it in a way that is like pretty much almost on par with how good the Lost Odyssey transition is from FMV to gameplay. Just truly great stuff, I think.
Absolutely. I completely agree. That's awesome, man. I love it. All right. For my first one, so I decided I'm going to kind of go in a chronological order, starting with the oldest game on my list. And this is such a hard list. But one I kind of kept coming back to is a game from Taito called Metal Black. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this.
Yeah. I've played like half of it before.
I like this game a lot, but what I really like is that the first level, it starts with this really like energetic track. It sort of charges up your ship. It shows you kind of get like warp into your ship, and then using sprites, it shows a wireframe of the ship and does like a 3D pullback, right? But it's completely just like 2D art. So you get your spinning 2D ship, but it looks like a 3D ship, and it takes off. And using scaling, they show your ship flying through the skeleton of a city, right? And it's like you're flying against the background. You can see through the buildings. They're all destroyed, and hanging far in the distance is the sun in place. And it's just these like beautifully almost 3D parallax clouds around you. And just the sound and the music here, it's extremely melancholy, right? Which is not what you expect from a shooter. But this is 1991, by the way. And yeah, most shooters like, energy, high energy. I love that stuff too. But here, it's this like dark, weird theme, and it's just like this really mysterious, destroyed world. And then right partway through the stage, you see this aircraft carrier that's like kind of like jammed into the level, and it lifts up, and it's like a giant, like mutated hermit crab using a giant aircraft carrier as his shell, right? And so you're fighting against this weird combination of like enemy like ships and like giant space looking bugs, but you don't know, is it space? And then as it pulls away from the city, you realize you're looking across what looks like a desert, and there's submarine ships, and it's like, wait, this is like the coastline, and the water's gone. It's completely just like dead here. So you're like going across this desolate earth, presumably, before eventually reaching the first boss, and the whole background goes nuts, and you fight this huge, weird crustacean-like mechanical thing. And when you finally beat him, and this is such a weird thing, the explosion effect is like the planet Earth. Like It's hard to explain when you see it. It's like this, they're using scaling to like, it's like boom, and you see the spin around, and it's like literally like the continents on the Earth.
Yeah, and
which is
Earth just is gone now. It's just completely blown
right
up.
And then still part of stage one, you see your ship take off, like it leaves behind, like it's like booster rocket. It shoots straight up vertically, and it kind of like brings you into this weird pseudo 3D view where you're scaling in and out and firing missiles at enemies as you try to break the atmosphere. And then as you break the atmosphere, that's when level 2 begins. And like just the whole thing as a 1991 game, I always felt like the amount of atmosphere that they injected into that first level, especially just as a shooter, was really, really remarkable. And even today, it's just this like really dark, moody experience that really tries to like play with the shooting genre in a way that I really like. And that's kind of Taito in a nutshell back then, where they were also following many popular genres, but they always did it with its own weird flair. Mm-hmm. And that's absolutely the case here. So
it's interesting watching this intro, the way that the level starts, where it shows the inside of the ship and it kind of pulls out a little bit. I mean, that is replicated a whole bunch since then. I think that a lot of other shooters were inspired by that. One I really think of is R-Type 3,
Oh, of course, yeah.
where it pulls out through the layers of the ship.
Exactly. It's a cool effect, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
they tried to make every shot from like the pilot going into the ship to you blasting across the cityscape like this seamless experience using fake 3D, and it really works. So
Yeah, there's some nice like line scrolling on that first level too with the clouds and everything.
I remember
Exactly.
the clouds looking beautiful there.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. What a mood piece. I love this whole game. I think it's amazing, but that first stage is always just a joy. And it's the first stage is one where it's quite, once you've played it a few times, you get to the point you can quickly master it, and it just feels satisfying to nail everything. And then you get up to that boss and you just take him out efficiently before moving on. And the game definitely ramps up in difficulty, but it's a great way to start. So awesome experience.
And it's on the Saturn. It's
Yep.
I think, does it have a whole
That's the
additional mode? It has like a Saturn mode on it. It's maybe better than the
Right.
arcade.
I have the Saturn version. That's actually the version I usually play. So that was one of those, I guess, Ving ports.
Yeah.
And those
Right.
were usually quite excellent and often
Yeah.
expensive, but I don't think Metal Black ever got to be that expensive. So it's still worth checking out. But all right. Moving on from that then, Coury, hit us. What do you got?
This one is a one that sticks with me because I still find it to be very exhilarating, especially since it follows one of my favorite game intros of all time, and I'm talking about Road Avenger on the Sega CD.
Oh,
The FMV port of the it's a Taito arcade game, right? A Laserdisc
Yep.
game, right? So this is nowhere near as smooth as that arcade version, but I think in a lot of ways it's a lot grittier and cooler looking. And this is the whole game is essentially a QTE. And you get this intro in the Sega CD version that shows this band of Road Warrior-esque gang like going through the city, destroying everything, and it cuts to the main character and his wife on their honeymoon. Like they had just gotten married, and they run him off the road, and she dies, and he survives. So he gets in his I don't know, it's like a Corvette with the engine sticking out of the front and hunts them all down. And right off the bat, this game from level 1 just goes completely nuts. And yes, it is a QTE, but it just like flows so much better. Like you're just driving down the highway, and then before you know it, you are driving through town, and there's this one scene where your car goes through
I know what he's gonna say.
the lobby of a hotel, and there's a 2-frame cut of the connoisseur or whatever, like the person who's running the hotel, of him just like looking terrified, and it's like literally 2 frames, and it happens so quick, and you fly through there, and then you're like going down the docks, like outside, like just somehow your Corvette is like driving down a dock and like making these turns, and you get on the beach, and when you fly into the beach, there's another quick shot of people on the beach just like looking in terror as your car is flying through the air, and this guy is just like looks so scared, and they're like, oh, and you're just getting started, because before you know it, you're driving through a canyon, like in later levels, you're going through a canyon and all this other stuff. You're doing like barrel rolls. Don't sleep on Road Avenger just because it's like an FMV game. It's one of the best Sega CD games. It's definitely top 5 Sega CD game of all time for me.
I agree totally. Is fantastic stuff. Just pure popcorn entertainment, except you can't eat popcorn while you play it, or else you will definitely die.
Yes.
It requires a lot of concentration.
The thing is, though, and this is really important, so FMV games like Dragon's Lair never really clicked for me because they essentially require the user to intuit which input should be pressed. Whereas Road Avenger is very explicit with directional commands, braking, turbo. It directly shows, here's what you must do, similar to Shenmue. And essentially becomes a game of reaction, whereas Dragon's Lair is both a game of reaction and a game of guessing, making it very, very, very frustrating. So this is far more playable than those, and it's also just the animation here is absolutely gorgeous. You're not kidding.
It really feels like, as compared to something like Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest, not Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest, Dragon's Lair.
Oh yes, the third.
I got
time,
it finally.
Third strike.
It feels very much that they wanted you to see what the game has to offer. Well, I feel like Dragon's Lair was. If there's a person out there who put probably $1 into Dragon's Lair the first time and didn't die within 15 seconds. Because it was an expensive game to play, at least at the arcades that I went to, and then you would die immediately because you couldn't even tell what's going on. This game, Road Avenger wants you to, or Road Blaster as it's called in the arcade, they want you to see what this game has to offer.
Really good work. And Taito did a bunch of these, actually.
Yeah, like Time Gal.
I really like them. Exactly. And it's interesting that FMV games made a big return last year with Dispatch, if you guys saw.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of superhero Telltale-ish style game, which I was surprised to learn is completely video-based. So
wait, really?
Interesting. Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
No graphics in that one. No real-time 3D graphics. It's 100%
really
video.
I had no. I mean, I remember all I've seen of it was like the initial reveal, and I just assumed it was like real-time cel shaded stuff. Wow, that's super interesting. Huh.
So it's pretty nifty. But try while you're there. Why don't you regale us with tales of your next choice?
Ooh, well, regale is a good choice of term there, because I'm going to pick a super left field option here from a developer called Gale Co. And Coury knows where this is going.
I know where this is going.
Okay. Have y'all heard of a game called Alligator Hunt?
What?
Alligator Hunt.
I'm just going to say, like, usually when you get, this is the first time I think this might have happened. Well, no, there was another. It's very rare that you mention a game that I've actually never truly heard of.
Dude, this game's awesome.
Okay, so tell me about it. Tell me about this.
So Coury and I learned about this when he streamed the Galeco Arcade Collection for Evercade. It's either Collection 1 or 2. I think it's Galeco
Collection 1.
We had no idea what this game was going to be. Just going completely blind.
I mean, it's called Alligator Hunt.
It's called Alligator Hunt. What what it is not at all what you would think.
Yeah.
So this opens up. You are just like some typical snot-nosed 90s kid, wearing shorts and a t-shirt, backwards baseball cap, on a skateboard in like a military hangar. And there's like these, alien machines coming to attack you. And we're like, whoa, it's wild guns. It's wild guns.
What? Okay.
And so like it plays like wild guns, where you like move the character and move your cursor kind of at the same time. And it's like, okay, this is awesome. And it's like got this, as Coury likes to put it, some real butt rock going on. And so then after the hangar scene, you go outside and you're like shooting all, these alien invaders, this like ruined, Terminator or Contra-esque city in the background. The graphics are beautiful. This is like I believe a Spanish developer. It's an arcade game, and they do incredible graphics work, but all their stuff has gone super under the radar. And the only, modern release of it, I think, is this Evercade stuff. So then after this, this ruined cityscape, then you're in this kind of like Iridian 3D style perspective, the kid like gets into his spaceship, and you like actually have to like keep it centered and aligned on the launch rail, and then you fire up into the sky, and then it becomes this like vertical scrolling segment, but it still basically plays like Wild Guns, where you kind of like move the ship at the bottom and are like kind of shooting into the background, but it's vertically scrolling as you're like leaving the planet. The butt rock continues. And eventually you are flying above the planet, and then you like fight the boss in a wormhole as you like are traveling elsewhere. Like this game like starts off in a way that you wouldn't expect and just keeps going and going and going. I will admit though, the opening level is the best part of the game. Like it never quite tops that. I mean, how can you?
The rest of the game, you're in that ship.
Yeah.
It's just kind of interesting though that it becomes like that, right? Like you start out on foot. I think you even have like a dodge type thing you can do.
Right. It plays a lot like Wild Guns, but it's linear rather than like selecting the levels. But it's like why are you this kid?
This kid?
And he's like talking to someone back at base.
He's got like this big underbite.
Yeah. like it's the most 90s looking thing ever. And he's like talking to someone back at base. So like clearly this kid is like a legitimate trained soldier of some kind.
Yeah.
Like I do not know what's going on with this, how they came up with this, but the opening level in this game is like an all-time banger, I think.
Yeah. It's sight unseen. We were amazed at what we were witnessing.
I'm looking at it now and I can't believe this. This looks wild. You got me. Like I didn't know about this. This is really, really cool.
Yeah,
this is great. I didn't even consider that. Like I just hadn't even thought about that for the.
I didn't consider it before recording, but it just popped in my head while you guys were talking. I'm like, ooh, yeah. I have to do Alligator Hunt. The opening is so good. It's crazy.
Very, very good choice. Very good choice. I love it. Okay, then. Man, see, the thing is like, you guys are picking some obscure stuff. And looking back, I felt like I wanted to pick things that actually were games that I knew for a long time that have stuck out in my head.
No, I think that's
choices,
fun.
right?
Yeah.
Because like, these are important to me over the years. And so the next one chronologically I went with, and we've talked about this before, of course, it's a well-known game, but I have to put it in here. It's the original Rocket Knight Adventures.
I was kind of not going to mention it because we kind of already talked about it on the games that define the Genesis, but you're absolutely right. This level deserves talking more in depth about.
I need to get it in here because this game mechanically is awesome, right? You got your blade slash, you got your rocket boost. It's very simple mechanics, but they work so well and it feels so energetic. And like as soon as you take control of Sparkster, it feels great. And this first level encapsulates, as I've talked about, my favorite thing, the situation rush, where the game is constantly changing things up on you and making you adapt to new scenarios. So like it starts simple enough, fighting normal enemies as you do in a platformer, then quickly at some point the screen kind of locks into place and you have to fight these like sort of mech enemies, and these teach you how to do these sort of boost into things to like deal damage, right? And they even have a moment where if you can get past the initial section without boosting, but then eventually you hit like a wall like Kirby's Dream Land where you have to know the mechanic to go up to get past it, and you learn that there. And like that initial section is great. You're fighting normal dudes, mech dudes. It's doing a nice transition between the two. Then you get this section where it goes more vertical with these trees, and there's things to collect on there. And you learn about the momentum and like moving around with your tail, right? And then you reach this point where you go up to a cliffside and you face 4 guys before going to the first boss. And the first boss comes out in a tank, and you defeat the tank, and it blows up the bridge, and then you fall down the waterfall, and you're now fighting this tank as it like without the tank treads, it's like fluttering around inside the waterfall. You're doing a battle on the waterfall, and then eventually once you beat him, you get dropped out onto the surface of a lake, so presumably where the water was running out to, and you quickly then grab this little pack, and Rocket Knight takes off the goggles come on, and it turns into like essentially a horizontal shooter with like a crazy amount of parallax scrolling, like just absurd. Like you've got how many? Oh, hold on, I'm looking at it now. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 layers just for clouds, and that's not getting into the water. And the 3 layers.
Some of that
into
has
the
to
water.
be line scrolling, right?
Oh, it's a mix of line scrolling and other tricks,
Yeah.
but it's super effective and it's just awesome to see. And after you fight a bunch of enemies there, you face another boss, and it's this big water dragon thing. You wipe the floor with him. He looks cool. He's made up of all the little like balls, right? It kind of moves together. In
the Konami balls.
Konami balls. That's what it is. And then as soon as you beat him, like the camera keeps scrolling, and then it sort of like locks onto this castle wall, and Sparkster just like bam flies right into the castle, which is awesome. It's just like that zooming in at full speed. Boom, you're in the castle.
And the castle's on fire.
And you get in there and everybody's running around. The castle's on fire. There's flames everywhere. Even the enemies, they're like holding onto their butts with like little flames shooting out. And this next part then teaches you how to use the rocket boost to sort of bounce on walls. You ricochet around on the walls. And then after you do that, then like giant flame jets start shooting out everywhere, and the whole screen's warbling and showing heat waves. And you have to complete an auto-scrolling segment while dodging the giant blasts of flames, right? And then from there, you go in another door, and there's more bouncing around and kicking enemies' butts and just like flying off the walls. Then there's that weird package that you open where you get the cute little Sparkster squeal. Before eventually you make it up to the top and you see out the window, there's some kind of large boss creature stalking you, looking through the window. You go into the next door, and then it's boss fight. And the first boss fight's awesome. It's this huge mechanical like worm thing that's like smashing through the walls. It comes from the ceiling, from the walls. It's dropping bombs. It's trying to crush you. It swings out its tail. It's cool. Music, by the way, throughout this whole segment is just awesome. Michiru Yamane of Symphony of the Night fame. Bringing the tunes. Really, really good stuff. And then you beat this boss, and that's it. Stage 1 complete. And it's just like, you know, for the time especially, having that much stuff happening within stage 1, it's like that was stage 1 is the feeling I remember getting back in the day.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't believe it. It's like that was one stage. Like, oh my God.
and unlike Alligator Hunt, it's not necessarily even the peak of the game. Like I would say Rocket Eye Adventures like keeps an even level of awesome through to the end. I mean, this is a game that could also be in an episode on the best final levels.
My God. Yeah. Jeez. That's the thing is this, every stage is different. It just keeps escalating. But I think, you know, despite that, like it's so important. That intro stage is just nuts, and it's always fun to play. It's really Konami magic at its best. And they did a lot of great first levels during this era. Don't get me wrong. Like so many Konami games have awesome introductions, but this one was so bold and fast and just like all over the place that it really, really stuck with me for all these years. So I had to mention it.
It's very clear that they had a lot of ideas, you know, for the whole game, you know, and they were just able to liberally split them out in this first level alone. And that's not even scratching the surface, really.
Exactly.
What it gets into.
So crazy, crazy game. What an awesome, just the sequels. I like the sequels, but they have nothing on this original. Yeah. They really don't. So go play it.
Good choice. Good choice. Great game.
So back to you, Coury. What's your third selection?
So my third selection is my favorite game in the Panzer Dragoon series. I'm gonna mention Panzer Dragoon Orta.
Oh, I'm so glad you put it in here.
The City in the Rain level that opens up. That I feel like at the time this came out, I feel like these were the best graphics I'd ever seen in my life. The atmosphere of your dragon flying through this rainstorm, through this big canyon, all these, you know, fireballs flying at you, these spotlights in the background, you know, this enormous city. I had never really completed any other Panzer Dragoon game before I played this. like the design of the structures and everything, it's this mix between like a like ancient culture with like technology is just so cool. And man, there's just so much stuff going on. Like I said, I had never seen anything that had graphics like this before. Great music to go along with it, and you fly inside. Like halfway through, you fly inside of a tunnel where the game really speeds up a bit, and then by the time you come out the other side, then you're fighting this gigantic battleship, a big airship, battleship type thing, and the way that you fly around it, rail shooters are maybe my favorite genre of game, and a lot of that comes down to the impact that Panzer Dragoon Orta had on me. That and the first Star Fox, like, are my favorite rail shooters. And man, Panzer Dragoon, and the thing is, that first level is really great, but the following levels up through about level 5, it just gets better and better and better. I mean, one day, I've talked about it in other places, but I have a huge soft spot for like airship armadas in games. When you fight airship armadas or like space armadas.
Oh, I bet you went nuts during Titanfall 2 then.
Yes, exactly. Like jumping from like ship to ship was very cool in that. But like level 4 in Panzer Dragoon Orta, I know it's about first levels, but I just the gigantic fleet level in Panzer Dragoon Orta is like one of my favorite levels in video games of all time.
That's awesome.
Okay.
And man, I agree 100%. And this series is so good at first levels that I feel you actually could have picked any of them.
I know. I wasn't sure which one you were going to pick when you mentioned Panzer Dragoon.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this first level at the time was truly unlike anything I'd ever seen before. I agree. Like, it was absolutely mind-blowing. I played it in 480p at the time and remember just being floored by it.
Yeah.
Because, the effects, the lighting, the rain, especially the way the rain would come in sheets, it was just awesome.
The rain holds up really well.
Man, the
whole thing does, yeah. And it looks great on Series X and Xbox One X in 4K.
I was going to say, because that, oftentimes I don't prefer how original Xbox games look upscaled on the current gen Xbox. But this is one of the games where I think it looks really good in high res. Like, it does. I absolutely recommend playing it that way for sure.
And it's wild to look at that, and then you look at the remake of Panzer Dragoon, and then the remake of 2 demo, and it's just like, these guys, like, they don't get it. They don't get it. And it's a shame.
Yeah. I mean, it just has this gritty feel to it that those remakes can't even come close to replicating. It feels like a lived-in world. They all feel like a lived-in world.
It does. And honestly, this sits in a similar... It's the same kind of vibe I get from the Team Eco stuff at the time, right?
Yeah.
Like Shadow of the Colossus Eco itself.
Yeah.
Where they all exist, and they managed to create... The technology was in the right spot to create these worlds that feel so just unusual and appealing. But it's so different and unique. It's just very, very bold world design and art direction.
Tells a story without having to say it.
Barely says a word, barely needs to, but you feel it. It's super, super memorable. So very, very good choice.
It's very true. You think about, thinking about the worlds that are in the Panzer Dragoon games and the Eco series, they are very similar in the fact that they both use made up languages also.
Right.
And they do feel very similar. I never really made that connection until you just said it, but it's true.
Yeah. And that was something I felt we saw. It really emerged during that period, and I really, really like it. So cool stuff.
They leveraged that the technology of the time against
right.
Like these ideas that they had. It's the first time they could really build these worlds.
Exactly.
To be this.
So
detailed.
all right. With that said, I peeked at your list, and now you're gonna have to tell us. I'm surprised you picked it, but Johnny Bazooka Tone is a bold choice.
For the record, I have not made a list available to these two gentlemen. It's all in my head, and right now I'm going to go for God of War 2.
Ooh. Yeah,
okay.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's the sauce right there.
Yeah, actually, this was my first point of contact with God of War. I paid absolutely no attention to the first one. I don't know why. It just like didn't get on my radar. I didn't pay attention.
Oh man, don't tell Thomas. His favorite of that is the first one. He thinks 2 was a big step down.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yep.
okay. Well, yeah, I was not paying attention, but I remember like shortly after this came out, I was just like super bored one weekend. I'm like, man, I want to get a new game. I just like went to the store and looked, and for some reason, this is unlike me, but I just like bought this random sequel, God of War 2. And this first level is insane. I mean, you start off, Kratos is the God of War now, and you're like, just like I now know, having gone back and played the first game later, not much later. Just like when you fight Ares, and he's all big, now you're a big bad god.
Try, if I may, before you continue, let's not forget one of the series' most important features is the way it does the seamless title screens.
Oh, that's true.
Right? Like
that's
as soon as
true.
it loads up, you just see half of Kratos' face glaring at the camera, but it's real-time 3D. And as soon as you actually begin the game, the narrator kicks in and the camera just pulls back to him sitting in that throne to set the stage, right?
Yep. And, of course, the Greek gods, including Kratos, who is now a god, they got beefs with each other. And, so Kratos, comes on down and starts messing up things in the name of the Spartan army. And Athena's like, oh, no, you don't. And shrinks him down to size. And then, like, shocks life into the Colossus of Rhodes itself. the man himself, the Colossus of Rhodes. And it starts walking around like, the Statue of Liberty in the end of Ghostbusters 2. And
yes.
So like throughout this level, you're like progressing through the city and all of these different environments that are, very beautiful as this like war is raging around you, and you're fighting like random soldiers alongside this like, kind of boss fight that's like kind of happening in the background. You like kind of, the road Colossus is like punching through the walls and you're like dodging it. It's punches as you're, fighting the enemies. And then you kind of have like intermittent contact with him as kind of a mini boss of sorts throughout the level. And you destroy certain parts of his body and eventually like stab his eyes and stuff. And then by the end of the level, you actually get inside the Colossus and like are climbing up the scaffolding within him, and destroying the magical core. And this is just the beginning of the game. This is, in a lot of ways, I think the God of War game that goes like the biggest and the loudest, and it sure does start off that way.
So I was thinking about this too. I didn't end up including God of War on my list, but the one that always hit me was actually God of War 3.
Yeah.
Because that intro starts out on a moving enemy that you essentially climb around on, and it's like as it's scaling this giant mountain. I mean, but you know what? It doesn't matter. God of War 2, also freaking amazing out of the gate. Like these games just go big.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
it's a staple of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that makes this opening work better for me than the one God of War 2 is that you knew that was coming at the end of God of War 2. Like you knew this big battle, like with the Titans and on the Titans was coming. And it does execute it very well, but I feel like the rest of God of War 3 is a bit of a letdown. It just feels less big, less surprising, less interesting than God of War 2. And so like God of War 3 peaks there. God of War 2 sets the stage for similarly big and bigger things to come.
Yeah, and also when you consider the fact that God of War 2 is a PlayStation 2 game, they do some amazing stuff there. And one of the things I've come to appreciate more in time and distance is the scripted camera angles.
Yes.
Which is such an underrated piece of art, right? Like having that swooping camera that moves around through these worlds, and it'll dive through a tight space before swooping out into a huge open area. And it just feels like extremely epic. And I really love that kind of camera work.
Yeah. And, we really don't know what the nature of this God of War trilogy remake is going to be. But, if it is indeed a full on remake, hopefully they can, do this whole sequence in real time, right? Or at least, FMVs that, can pass as real time, because elements of this don't hold up so well now due to the fact that, a lot of the interstitial parts are FMV.
That's true. There's a bit of FMV thrown in there for sure. But still, overall, very, very cool. All right. So I'm going to get back to my list here chronologically. Man, this is such a hard one to make, but I feel like I need to include this in here because of its legacy. I'm going with Hollywood Holocaust, the first level of Duke Nukem 3D.
Oh,
okay.
I think this has to be one of the most played levels in my gaming history. It is a level that is so rich in detail, in interactivity, and sets the stage for such an insane game. Like I feel like the statement of intent you get from Hollywood Holocaust is nuts for the time. And first of all, have you guys played? You guys have played Duke Nukem 3D, right? You know this game. I hope
a long time ago. I don't remember much. I've never played a huge amount of it.
So the first thing to remember, like this hit right around the time of Quake as well. So like we were still seeing this sort of like sector based engine stuff with the build engine here. And Quake was full polygon. But what this allowed Duke to do was to create this massive sense of scale. And right away, it's doing things that we didn't really see in anything like Doom engine based. You've got slopes, you've got rooms above rooms, you've got all this sort of dynamic shifting environment where things can change in real time. Like you start on the roof, you get dropped off, your ride gets shot down famously. And the first thing you see actually is the sloped rooftop of this sort of like window thing on top of the building. And immediately like, okay, well, Doom can't do that, right? You run over, you shoot these canisters, and you get this like screen filling like effect as they explode. The whole thing shakes violently. It's like really, really intense feeling at the time, especially, which then blows open this air duct and you go drop down to the street level from a really high vantage point. And if you just run straight through it, it's not that long. But the idea is like you're out on the city streets, and there's a cinema. You actually bust in through the back door of the cinema. You're in the cinema room. Then you end up in the lobby, and you're in the snack room. You find the arcade, and you're essentially you go up to the projection room to get a card key, and then you're like trying to get through. But along the way, there's just like tremendous secrets. There's like, windows to enter into out on the street. You can find a rocket launcher right away. There's so many different weird spots hidden around the theater itself. There's like, you can blow a hole in the theater screen and go behind it and find stuff back there. And that means that not only does this work well as an awesome single player map, it's also good as a multiplayer map, both in deathmatch and in co-op. And it's fun. And I think some of the levels in Duke Nukem 3D get to be a bit long later on in the game, but this one is so tightly made and just like pure. It really has everything that Duke has to offer kind of right out of the gate. Interactive security cams, things, all these like varieties of weapons. It's got working mirrors.
It's immediately apparent that you're getting something different than the other first-person shooters on the market at the time.
And there's
something a little more risque, I guess.
For sure. They definitely play that up. And it's also the fact that it's a real-world style location, which was another thing that really wasn't done much, if at all, at that point. Like an attempt to really simulate, here's a city street. There's like rooms you can go in. Here's an actual building of a theater that's logically laid out, right? You open doors, they swing open and close like that. You're climbing stairs, you're flipping light switches. You flip a switch, light goes out. You turn on the projector, it's showing a movie. Just little things like that, cause and effect. You click on a security camera, it zooms in and it shows you the security camera. It's just this level of interactivity right out of the gate that I think is super, super cool.
Yeah. Are they able to maintain that throughout the whole game too?
I would say mostly, but it gets a little bit convoluted at times. And I do think the first episode is the most enjoyable. The second episode takes place up in space, and it is good, but it loses some of this becoming more sci-fi based and a little bit more confusing at points. So plus you got all the references in there. They just go nuts with it. Man, I might like Quake better overall in just terms of pure playability and what it means. Like this first level of Duke Nukem 3D is just, it's a masterclass in like opening up one of these shooters, I think, which is why I had to put it on this list.
This might be a bit of a tangent, John, but talking about, how much you love that and how much you love Quake, outside of Doom, Build Engine, Duke Nukem 3D, and Quake, like which of those engines do you think spawned your favorite experiences outside of the games that they debuted in?
I mean, I think the Quake engine game definitely led to the best stuff overall and like formed the basis of so many things, which I absolutely love, of course. But they did some cool stuff with other, like we're talking Build Engine, for instance. I mean, there was Shadow Warrior. There was Exhumed for the PC, and then there was my favorite, which was Blood, right?
Blood.
And then, of course, stuff like Redneck Rampage or Extreme Paint Brawl. But Blood is my favorite, the Monolith game from 1997. It's super, super cool. Love that game. And Doom Engine as well. It's been around. They did some cool stuff with it. Beyond Doom, I loved Hexen and Heretic, of course. And then Quake just went on to be used either directly or indirectly in so many things over time. It was a huge, huge, huge engine. And I mean, that was an engine that you just felt like the remnants of for like over a decade. It was really crazy.
Good choice.
Yeah. Shooters, baby. All right. But when we get to it, my next one will actually be after the year 2000, finally.
Oh. All right.
So, Coury, what do you got for us?
The Warehouse from Tony Hawk Pro Skater, the first one. Although maybe not the most iconic level in those first two games, I would probably give that to the school levels. I feel like the Warehouse is a great level for the series to start with, and just has all of the things that you need to learn the flow of the game. And I'm sure people just spent hours and hours replaying this level over and over again. I think that all of the levels in those first two Tony Hawk games, probably the first three Tony Hawk games, are basically perfect for what they were trying to do. I feel like there was a demo for Tony Hawk 1 that just had that first level on it, that just had the warehouse on it. And then that's probably all people needed. If they couldn't afford the game, they got everything that they needed to get out of just playing that level over and over and over again. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about it, but it's just, it's just a really, really solid first level in a, an iconic extreme sports game, I guess.
I love that level, it showed up again in other games, including Tony Hawk's Underground 2, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Thug 2. They had a version of the warehouse in there, and you could sort of revisit it and like really go nuts with the moves.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it came back in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. It was also, I guess, in the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD, which I'd like to forget about. That was not good. It's definitely been around. It's probably been in some others as well. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, that's an awesome choice, dude. Because what a freaking great level, right?
Yeah.
I kind of go back and forth on what's my favorite of the first levels. I'm very partial towards the Foundry from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, but the warehouse, man, it's kind of almost tied. It's neck and neck.
It's interesting that the first levels in those first three are just like these industrial levels, like that, yep. The Foundry, or the warehouse, Foundry, and the hangar. Yeah.
It's true. I love it. And then they get to 4 and it's like, oh, it's a university. You're like, all right.
Yeah.
Try number 4 for you.
I'm going to go with Castlevania Rondo of Blood.
Castlevania Rondo of Blood. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that is just the whole like opening sequence from that sort of PC-Genjin style, not FMV, but the, whatever you would call it, where you've got I love that, just that clean style that, PC-Genjin CD does so much, where it's got the big character images and the animations and awesome music behind that is like Richter, slams his fist on the table and goes out there to, kick a creature of the night butt. And then you kind of start off in this scene, and as he's like driving his horse-driven chariot out of the forest and through the rain, and you have this little kind of mini battle with death. It's a little awkward because he's like, you can jump on top of the horses and stuff, but it's still cool as heck. And then you get into the level proper where the village is on fire, and it's one of the best looking things on PC-Genjin. I think just the way that level looks and the way that the fire animation is drawn, and it just has such atmosphere, and with the look of it and the music, and
slapping them guitar strings.
Yeah.
So
and
good.
then you are literally going through the village of Castlevania 2 from NES. That's such a cool, kind of aesthetic callback there. And then, so you go through that, and, the enemy placement, I think, is just impeccable throughout that. You've kind of got the hidden, I think you can rescue one of the maidens in that first level, which kind of can lead to, branching paths and different endings and stuff. And then, when you get out of that kind of Castlevania 2 segment, then you're going through sort of the more expensive ritzy part of town with these golem creatures that are almost as tall as the screen. They're really easy to beat, but they look very impressive. And then, you end up fighting a dragon in front of the castle gates. It's not a huge dragon or anything, but dragon is still a pretty big deal thing to be ending your first level on. So, I mean, I think it's, it may not be quite as just holy cow as, the sequence of events that you go through in other Konami 2D games of the era, like Rocket Knight Adventures, as you mentioned, but I still think it sets a very, very high bar, and is just, between just how fun it is to play through that level, the aesthetic presentation, the music. Like, I think it just all comes together into almost certainly like the most memorable opening section for a Castlevania game, I'd say.
Yeah, and then it gets ported to the Super NES, and it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's not bad. It's okay. It's okay.
That's about the way I would put it. But I like that. I actually also thought about putting that game on this list for this reason, because I do think it's a very, very memorable introduction.
Mm-hmm.
It really sets the stage right. It's so awesome to play. Really good stuff.
Chino Liferando.
Yes, why not?
A leaf of Rondo?
Yes.
we were joking about it when I was at John's house. Grubhub is called
the Lieferando.
Yeah, Grubhub is called Lieferando in Germany. So I was saying Chino Lieferando.
I say.
I love it. All right. Okay. Number 4 from my side. I had to go with this. The Tanker from Metal Gear Solid 2.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, you knew it. It's predictable, but it needed to be here.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the most interesting, well executed, and still just stunningly beautiful, like, beginnings to a game that's ever existed. Like, this is so good. And when you look at it now and you see the detail to the lighting, to the interactivity, all the things you can do in it, it's still staggering to me that this could exist in 2001. Like, it almost doesn't seem possible. Like, it's genuinely mind-blowing. And, for those that maybe weren't around or want to think about it again. So, obviously, Metal Gear Solid, very, very cinematic, right? That's the whole thing. So the game starts with a very, very cool and beautiful cinematic introduction of essentially Snake transitioning from walking down the Washington Bridge, I guess, with his it's like a tunic or not a tunic, but it's like a rain jacket basically, right? And they do this awesome job of simulating the reflection of water and light off of this, which already looked awesome, and all the cars driving by. And then he switches to this optic camo, starts to run, and sort of bungee jumps off the bridge, and just the swelling of the music, the rain, the effects, the depth of field, everything. It's so good looking. And then the lightning when he hits the deck and this optic camo breaks, stunning. But then you take control, and I feel like what you can do in this game straight away was unprecedented for the time. Like right on the deck of the ship, right? You're just out there, you're chilling on the deck. If you just look at the first wall in front of your player, you see these lights. You can just shoot them out and it goes dark right away. That's cool. Look up, you'll see a dude with a flashlight patrolling. You can go up there, or at least you presume, or you can just shoot him from below. But you can also tranquilize him from below. You have 2 choices then right away. You can go to the left, you can go to the right, and they actually have different entry points to the ship. But if you want to take out the guards first, not only can you take them out, you can actually find these interactive working doors on the side. You can eject them off into the river, which is cool. You're basically able to wander all over the place in this opening area and mess with these guys before even infiltrating. And by the way, the rain and water reflections here at the time were the best that had ever been seen in any video game, to the point where it was hard to believe it was real. Running at 60 FPS, the way that they figured out perfectly how to capture this feeling of a storm, right? A mix of different raindrop types whipping in different directions, and it actually changed directions. You'd actually see cables and everything smacking around on the deck of the ship with water droplets coming off of them, and they would change and shift based on the wind direction, which also affected the rain. Little droplets that would refract light would collect on your view when you went into first person, which was something you could do to shoot. All of these things, reflections on the deck, cool stuff. But then you go inside the ship and it continues. Like, it's all these different rooms. Everything's interactive. You can open lockers, collect inventory. You can shoot a fire extinguisher and cause it to explode. Mess around with the sink. You can go in these different rooms. There's like canisters you can shoot and steam shoots out, or you can just trank a guy. So, you can set these traps. You can knock on the wall and cause them to come running. Like, this game just really played around with this idea of just like almost toying with the AI. And it was so fun. And then when you get to the crew lounge, like there's like dudes patrolling in there. This is where I think the game really blew up and would have been viral if the kind of modern internet existed. Like, in the lounge, you've got a bar, you've got a little area with a TV, you've got this big glass wall, and you've got plants. You can go in there behind the bar and shoot every single bottle. They all break individually. You can shoot the ice bucket, and little ice cubes tumble out of this thing onto the counter, and then they proceed to melt, right? You can walk up to this big pane of glass, and depending on how and where you shoot it, it breaks apart in this like beautiful, like, it's just awesome. Like, it's like a cascaded effect as the glass shatters into a pile, and all the little shards then collect around the glass that you just broke. Basically, you can walk up to the magazines and break them apart and like sort of shoot them. You can shoot the plasma TV mounted on the wall, and it actually breaks in a way that's convincing for like a flat panel TV. And the whole tanker continues like this, with all these little tiny interactive elements everywhere, allowing you to take different approach to how you take out enemies. There's so many little areas, nooks and crannies and places you can go, but you don't have to. You could be slow. You can pick up a guard, take him out, and hide his body in a locker if you want to, because they might get found. They play with light and shadow even early on, where like, depending on the position of the light, guards and Snake himself will cast shadows in that direction. And if an enemy sees the shadow, they'll come looking for you. It just continues like that, right? And like, just talking about it gets me excited, just because like it was so fun to play through over and over again. And even now I'm thinking, man, after this I want to learn Metal Gear Solid 2. Like,
it's a true sandbox,
right?
It just gives you all that stuff right out of the gate. And I don't love the full game of Metal Gear Solid 2.
I do, but I know,
like,
I agree.
It's shaped by the situation when it came out, right?
Yes.
But it really feels like they poured so much passion into the tanker that wasn't quite there on the big shell stuff.
Correct.
And I know they needed to make it like visually different, but it just seems like there's so much stuff crammed into that tanker that it almost feels like a completely different game. Like, they just...
I agree. And I think the tanker's
so
good.
Much fun.
I like the rest of the game. I'm actually a huge fan of the whole game, but I agree. Mm-hmm. The tanker has this level of like detail on everything that is still today like impressive. And it's not just that things are simulated, it's the way that everything feels so carefully placed and designed to mess with. Even the first boss fight, you go out on the deck there, you fight Olga, it's got all that stuff like messing with the light. Oh, you can shoot out the light. If you shoot that huge tarp, it'll like flutter in the wind, then you shoot the other corner, it goes flying off. And
it'll distract her and stuff.
It'll distract her.
The way that the boss fight plays out.
Yeah. All these little things like that, and crazy little details, and it's so free form and just lets you play around, and you're just finding constant Easter eggs and items and different ways to tackle problems. I would love to see a game like this crafted at this level throughout the entire runtime.
Yeah.
I think it would have been very, very difficult.
Yes.
Especially back then.
John, what percentage? It's been so long since I've seen the demo that was included with Zone of the Enders being played. Like, what percentage of the tanker is in it? Because it's a very generous demo, isn't it?
It's up through Olga. You battle Olga on the deck of the ship.
It's most of the good stuff, right?
There's still a lot of good stuff.
Interior stuff,
it still continues. There's great stuff in there, but the thing about the Olga fight is like, if you just like start the game, just run straight for Olga, you can get there in like 5 minutes or less. Like, it's really short. Like, you just boom, straight there. But there's just so much more to do, and that's what keeps you going.
There's a lot of people out there that probably played that tanker level more than they ever played Zone of the Enders, period. You know, like the entire game.
Yep, I agree. And so yeah, masterful release for sure. So that's why I had to mention it. So Coury, let's get on to the fifth and final one.
All right. Well, you know, it sucks because I have two that should be on this list.
All right.
That I won't say them both.
Okay.
But I had to kind of just go with the one that I feel the most connected to. And it's like definitely the best part of this entire game.
Right.
And it's a game, this is something that should be on this list. I would be sad if it didn't appear at all and people would call us out. And I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to say the City Escape from Sonic Adventure 2.
That was on my possible list as well. So I'm glad you did it so I can do my other one.
Oh man. Okay.
I mean, Sonic Adventure 2 peaks in the first level. You know, people out there that got Phantasy Star Online and that came with the demo of this level, like that's all you needed. That's all you need. Honestly. I mean, this level is iconic. I mean, you know, you're playing a Sonic game and the first mission is telling you the objective is escape from military pursuit. That's when you know that Sonic had grown up, right?
It's true.
And it starts out with that bass line, that boom, 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 boom.
Oh.
And, you know, you get to ride on this hunk of metal, like skateboard through the streets of a San Francisco like city. You know, it's almost like Crazy Taxi, right? Except for by the end, you're being chased by the what is it, like the 18-wheeler pro trucker truck. But yeah, I mean this level, you know, is the peak of Sonic Adventure 2. From those from the skateboarding or snowboarding-esque, like down the streets, to just cutting through the city, grinding on rails, and then running full speed towards the camera as this big semi chases you. I mean, that's the best thing that I would argue that both Sonic Adventures offer.
That's wow. Okay, I agree. I definitely this was definitely one that I had in consideration. Mm-hmm. It's super, super cool. 100% on board.
Yeah. I mean, the music is like, I think the biggest reason though that it's so iconic, right? Like that's what drives it. Like without that music, this level would still be cool, but forgettable.
Well, what is interesting to me, I remember the first time I played it in the full game, I was surprised that there's lyrics to the song, because the demo that was included with Phantasy Star Online just had the music, but there was no lyrics, which I think is kind of neat. Is a neat way to play it. But the lyrics do add quite a bit to it. But
yeah, totally. I agree.
Best part of the game. Camera is not really an issue on this level.
Yeah.
Which is nice too.
Yeah.
change of pace from the rest of it. But yeah, it's good stuff. It is really good stuff. And I mean, I would feel bad if this was not mentioned in our entire discussion.
Cool. All right, try.
For my last one, I'm going to go with Super Mario Galaxy.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
Yeah. I mean, this was kind of like a very emotional moment for me, I think, because, you know, I loved the Mario games that had come out over the years, but I felt like for the 3D Mario games, I feel like the aesthetics never quite reached what I envisioned it could be, you know, what I saw on the NES and the Super Nintendo. And I think that opening scene where you're, you know, approaching the castle and you've got this huge callback to the, you know, as they call them in the cartoon show, the Doom ships. They never actually use that term in the game. They're just, you know, Bowser's airship fleet. You know, Coury was talking about how much he loves, you know, a sky armada, and I do too. And so, you know, they bring back the music from Mario 3. And I mean, this is just giving me chills because it, you know, it just transports me back to, you know, my childhood pretty much. Right. And So that kind of prelude scene is awesome. But then, you eventually end up at the first proper level, which is Good Egg Galaxy. And, the most famous track from this game is Gusty Garden, but I think the Good Egg Galaxy music is at least as good, if not better.
I agree.
And, it just does such a good job of introducing what is so cool and appealing and fresh about this game and its sort of platforming structure. You've got different shapes of planets, and it's really cool and fun to play around with the way that Mario kind of sticks to the gravity as you curve around. You've got like planets with big holes inside and just like a black hole in the center. And, kind of, you're sorting out like kind of the implications of like, what does this mean for how I have to like navigate this space? There's kind of like, there's like this like, pill shaped sort of capsule that you actually go inside and, kind of play like a 2D, like a spinning, rotating 2D platforming section inside it, which is a concept that the game brings about several other times. And it's got a good introductory boss battle with the piranha plant dinosaur inside the egg. And just I think it's just kind of very iconic imagery that I think just is shorthand for the game as a whole, right? It's in space. It's got that space background. It's got the different shaped planetoids. It's just such a great introduction to the game with fantastic music.
There's something special about hearing a Mario game with orchestrated music.
Yes,
big time.
That's the first time that you hear it in that situation, like in that atmosphere, and it's just. Wow, it adds so much to it.
Mm-hmm.
Coury, isn't this the game that you kind of credit with like bringing you back more fully into games?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. It was very magical. And this is coming after I didn't really like Sunshine very much, but there's something about the way the levels were set up in Mario Galaxy that made it feel like, this is something I've never thought about approaching like a platformer. Didn't even consider that as a possibility that's how 3D games could play.
One more. This is my final choice. I'm not even sure if you guys have much experience with this, but after thinking about it, I needed to put it in here. The original Crysis.
Okay, so this is not something I know about.
Yeah.
I've never played it.
I installed that Crysis trilogy you gave me onto my Xbox the other night, and I was thinking about you know what? I've never booted up Crysis before, and I still haven't. But it's time. Okay, tell me about it. What do I need to experience here?
So the first stage in this, I think, is a true next generation moment. When this hit in 2007, it really opened the door. So it starts with beautiful cutscenes that are like actually done in real time. After this mystery setting bit, they show this plane moving through these beautiful 3D clouds, like Raymarsh volumetric clouds. And then it cuts inside. You see some of the best character rendering ever. And it's basically like dudes all in these like crazy Crysis suits, the nano suit, all geared up, ready for a drop. And, he gives his initial speech, looks awesome. And then it's like, all right, it's time to go. And you jump out of the plane. And at this point, you get a full glimpse of a giant island below you as you're like tumbling through the air, and everybody's talking. It's night. It's dark. You throw on night vision. You're going down, and then all of a sudden, some kind of electric pulse hits, and your chute's gone. My chute is gone. My damn chute is gone. He says, as your character goes tumbling down, and you land in the ocean on a beach, and this is when the adventure begins. And the first thing you realize about Crysis is that, in a way, kind of in the same spirit as Metal Gear Solid 2, things are very, very interactive. Like, in that very first beach, you walk up to a palm tree, and you just start shooting the trunk. Guess what? That palm tree is going to rip apart and fall over. You want to pick up a turtle and throw him at the wall? Guess what? You can do it. You know, you can go swimming in the ocean, you can pick up things, you can break things, and you can pull up your weapon, and you have all these different attachments and stuff, but it's really just like setting the stage. You kind of make your way through, you go forward until you reach the beach, and there's two enemies there. Take them out. Uh and then eventually you link up with another person on the beach, and it's one of your squad mates, and you all got separated, and you make your way into this like super dense jungle at night. Like it's like you're thinking like kind of Predator stuff. It's like really dark, really really creepy looking, but so dense and so detailed. And you see one of your former squad mates hanging from a tree completely dead. Nobody knows like what, why, what's happening. um and then you proceed forward. And it's at this point that you start to learn that there's stealth mechanics. You can equip a silencer, you can crouch, you can sneak up behind dudes, you can take them out quietly from the grass. And it's like, okay, this is more tactical. The game slowly introduces the nanosuit to you, and this is what makes it so cool. It's like you have a stealth mode, strength mode, speed mode, uh and those are the main ones, I guess. There's the normal mode. But the idea is like when you're in stealth mode, you have like active camo. When you're in strength mode, your aim when shooting the gun, it's very steady, and you can also pick up crazy objects and throw them. In speed mode, you can run like the Flash, like dart across places. And by using your suit powers, you're essentially turning this into a giant sandbox. But it's not an open world game, and that's what I love about it. It looks like an open world game, but every level is very carefully designed, and you get that when you, as you come out of night, you're going through this thick fog-filled jungle. You're taking out these like North Korean guys, not sure what's going on, and you walk up on this cliff just as the sun comes over the horizon, and out before you is this just gigantic island. It's a huge level that stretches all the way across. There's oceans, there's patrolling boats, there's jungles, there's cliffs, and you realize you can just go everywhere. And it works by breaking up all these encounters into like little bits all around the island, and each encounter feels special. Like your first objective is to turn on this like radar dish, and it's just down by the beach, but there's patrolling dudes down there, and right away this is when you really start to realize just how interactive it is. Every structure in this game, like the shacks, the huts, the buildings, the fences, the trees, they're all physics driven, and they can all be destroyed. If you sneak down to that village and you jump on top of the shack, switch to strength mode, and then punch down through the roof, the whole roof caves in and crushes the dudes below you, and you just unload on whatever's left, right? You want to like pick up like a huge object and throw it into the wall of a building, it actually wipes out the building, right? Everything just crumbles and breaks
That's
around
crazy.
you. And like you take out little structures, like little struts on like a little overhang thing. You actually see like the roof kind of like it hangs, it tilts, it bends. You throw an explosive barrel on there and blow it up, and you just like, it's not just that it like explosion and then the building's gone. It's that all the pieces of the building go flying in all directions with a full physics simulation, right? And so there's just, and you know, things like you throw a metal barrel into the water, it behaves differently than like a plastic barrel, which floats more easily. You know, you blow up crates, you kick them around, you pick up a barrel and you throw it at an enemy, it does damage. You sneak up on them, you can stealth kill them. You can climb into vehicles. There's a boat out patrolling on the water. You can snipe them from a distance, and you kill the driver. You swim out to the boat, and now you take over the boat. You like approach the level from a different way. You can also go another path. You can jump in a Humvee and drive around and man the turret. You can sneak through the jungle, take out patrols that way. You essentially just like are dominating the island, and it's all like laid out in this like super smooth, a carefully designed way that feels both linear yet super open.
That's
And
crazy.
it's so fun.
It sounds so cool.
It's so fun. It's still today.
Yeah, I mean, when I hear you and Alex talk about Crysis, it really makes me want to give it a try. I kind of have two questions for you because
Yeah.
you know, this is the one that people talk about. People talk about Crysis 1. Is the approach to level design or general design different in Crysis 2 and 3? Because I mean, those were designed to work on Xbox 360 class hardware from the outset, right? Does that fundamentally change what the games are?
Yes, I would say so. They're still good. I like Crysis 2 and 3. But they are tighter. The level design is a little more constrained. There's still plenty of interactive things, but it's definitely not at the same level by any means. They do at least add things like there's like proper like when you stealth kill, like it actually locks into an animation and does that, which feels a bit more polished. You don't really get that in Crysis 1. It's more like, if you're in stealth mode, you go up and melee a dude, you'll take him out quietly, right? It's very much more freeform in that sense. But you don't get that experimentation that you get in this original. And just like the moment to moment stuff that can happen. Like imagine you see a patrol coming in a Humvee. There's a dude in the turret. He's coming full speed at you, firing. You pop both of his like right hand tires, which causes them to spin out, smacks into a tree. The tree falls down on them. They're scrambling to get out of the Humvee as the tree collapsed on them. You like roll a grenade in there and it just blows it all up, and just all the debris and bits go flying everywhere. And then, but because of the noise, nearby enemies hear it. They come rushing, and then you basically go invisible. You hide in the tall grass, wait for them to investigate, and then you take them out however you please. You can set traps. You want to knock something down and blow it up and it falls on them. You can do it.
The game has a reputation, obviously, but it's kind of amazing that they went as hard as they did at the time that they did.
And it demanded a lot. Like at the time,
Yeah.
high-end PCs were like 30 FPS basically at 720p. Like you needed a beefy machine to play this, but it was worth it because the interactivity was so on point. But it also has like fun and likable characters. I feel like eventually you find your way to it. Like the level design is like it has a choke point and then it's wide, right? It's like wide linearity. So you have this huge open area, but then you end up getting funneled through this specific area that takes you down this like sort of like tight mountainous region where you're stuck in a valley and the freedom's gone. And that's when you stumble upon a boat that's just like up in the jungle in the mountains, and your cast is together like they're confused. Like looks like someone had a little trouble parking their boat. He says. And then some huge unknown thing, alien creature, shows up and grabs one of your comrades and then flies off with it. And then you get into a huge chase across the jungle, jump down a chasm, level 2.
Wow. Well, maybe I mean you've got me all hyped to play it. Maybe I'll play that Xbox version you gave me for Coury's gameplay footage because I'm really curious. So my other question for you, John, is like, how do you feel about the remaster? Like, obviously the experience is probably more polished than most people could play when this game originally released, but like on good hardware, how would you compare the original version versus the remaster that we can all play more easily today and on our consoles and stuff?
I think it's fairly good overall, but it definitely is missing some things that made the original great, because the remaster is derived from the PS360 conversion, which was done on the newer CryEngine, but as a result, they actually sacrificed some things. So the interactivity is still there, but it's not quite as refined, I feel. And also the color palette, I think, is less realistic. It's a little more garish in spots. Still pretty, but it doesn't quite have that realistic tone that the original has going for it.
But you still generally have the flexibility.
It's about 90% of the way there, 95% of the way there.
Interesting.
And
interesting.
You do get the full approach.
Why were some of those other than just being on different engine, like from a gameplay standpoint?
Because some of the changes were made because the 360 and PS3 couldn't do it. Right. And they restored a ton of stuff, and it's not just a port of that version, right? They definitely did a lot more than that. So it's not to say it's the same, but like you could still, they essentially had to cobble all the things that were taken out of that version back into it as best as they could. And they didn't 100% nail it as a result. And part of it is that the original version, I think it was the older engine, and I don't know they had full access to the source and all that at the time. And so it made more sense to start from the PS360 version as a base. But either way, like I still think you'll have a good time with the remastered. Just get used to the controls. It's not it is complex. It's not a simple shooter, but it's worth experimenting with and learning. And eventually you discover, like, as you replay that level, there's just so much you can do. And I've been through that first stage so many times, and I still, every time I jump in there, I feel like there's a chance of finding something new. And I often do. It's that cool.
John, if I'm remembering correctly, doesn't the remaster have some sort of like software ray tracing that runs on last gen hardware?
Correct. There's a ray tracing mode you could turn on, and it ran on PS4 and Xbox One.
Wow.
It's very limited, but you can get ray traced reflections. Like very crude ray traced reflections are possible on those machines, which this was Vlad from Crytek just working his magic, but like he figured out a way to make that possible. And yeah, it's limited, absolutely. But it's still cool. They did add like an RT boost feature on PC, so you get a little bit more out of it. But yeah, even on the Xbox PS4 version, you could still enjoy it.
That's wild. That's so wild.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, you know, I talked about all that stuff about Crysis without really talking too much about the visuals, and I'm not going to here. We've done that many times, but I always see people say, "Oh, Crysis, it's just the graphics. It's just the graphics." But I don't.
But it's all these other systems.
Yeah,
there's so much more to it than that, and it actually has a compelling sort of single player adventure. There is, I forget if they added it back, but there is a mission late in the game, in the alien sections, where you actually fly like a VTOL in the original, and I feel like that was cut from the remaster because it takes place in this huge like valley with like tons of stuff happening, and was too much for the PS360. And then I don't think it got added back in. I could be wrong. Maybe they patched it back, but it was, I don't believe it was there originally. So in the remaster, but still give it a shot.
Will do.
Yeah.
So that's me getting all excited about Crysis again. Every time I mention it's like Deus Ex, where you mention Crysis and you reinstall it. Deus Ex 1 also really good first level, I would say, but a little clunkier. But Crysis, man, what an awesome experience.
Coury, tell us what your last game was. Like, we all have to discuss it. I just want to know.
It was Contra 3, the Alien Wars.
Okay.
Okay. I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
I also thought about that as well.
I thought about it as well. So,
you know,
on the same page.
One that was on my list that I don't even know, like, it's not old enough to be like retro, but a game that really sticks with me is like an amazing first level is Nier Automata, where it goes from a shooter to like, you know, character action. And I love that build up. Like that is one of my favorite first levels in any game, is just the way that it builds up. And then it totally defies expectations right out of the gate. And it's like, wait, this is a shooter?
Yeah.
What's going on here? This is not what I saw on the box or in any screenshots.
I also thought about Kid Icarus Uprising.
I still think BioShock 1 and Infinite also have amazing intros. Whatever you think of them, incredible intros. And I would also lastly toss in Forza Horizon games, like 4 and 5 especially. Those introduction sequences are just insane. They're so good.
You getting to like the rave or whatever, and
they basically like dynamically move between different vehicle types and different landscapes, giving you the full suite, and it's all timed to the music and just it's freaking good.
Yeah,
and it's to say, does a lot of really nice first stages, but these are the ones that stuck out to us for this episode. So let us know, what were your favorite first stages? What stood out to you, dear audience?
Yeah,
I would.
Which ones are you going to yell at us for missing?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this was maybe the most fun subject to do so far. I loved this. Like maybe we should do something like this again. Maybe
we can do second levels and third levels.
I thought about second levels. There's a lot of good second levels out there too. Like GoldenEye Facility, you know?
Yeah,
exactly. Oh man, yeah. Second levels. That I like.
It's a little bit of a brain teaser, right? Where it's like, oh, Where can this go?
Let us know what you think of that. We might have to tackle that in the future. But
Yeah.
gentlemen, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I think we did have a good time. I certainly did. And if you haven't played some of the games we mentioned, be sure to check them out. They're really cool. And I think we got to check back at a future date to see what Try thinks of Crysis. I must know.
So, and what John thinks of Alligator Hunt.
Yeah.
I'm going to try that next. But for now, if you want to support us and you want to help keep more retro content, less AI content, hit up the Digital Foundry Patreon. Let us know. Join the DF Retro Supporter Club and say, hey, I want more retro. And we will bring it to you. Because we actually have some proper episodes that I want to do at some point soon. Once things settle down, there's some stuff going on, but we have plans. There are plans. So look for that at some point. And thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. And thank you, gentlemen, for joining me, as always.
Yeah,
of course.
You got it.
And we'll see you next time.